I am certain that there are worlds out there where humans are considered livestock. We are nothing but cattle to them. In this world, though humans are the baddest thing that exists, they're not even taught how to fight. They don't need to be. Everybody knows better than to mess with them. But what happens when an unassuming human girl transfers into an alien academy? Well, you'll find out right now. Main character name, Alina. Now let's begin. Day 1. It was the first day of class, and I sat alone at a table in the cafeteria of whatever the hell this place was called. I picked at my food as I watched these glubs walk by. These were some of my new classmates. The ones that weren't busy fanning themselves over here were busy shoving each other in the face. I wonder if they used deodorant. This place was supposedly the most brutal academy in the sector, attracting the most sadistic and evil students from every inhabited planet. It was said that if you could make it through this place alive, you could make it anywhere. The teachers didn't care if you passed or failed. It didn't matter if you were strong, weak, stupid or genius. If you graduated from here, you had earned it. That made it more special than any other institution. You didn't get rewarded with a piece of paper here. You got rewarded with respect. The school was located on the surface of a planet around a black hole, which meant we had artificial gravity. It was nice to feel normal for once. It also meant that we had perpetual twilight. I was told that the sunlight from the star was bent and distorted by the black hole, making it appear as if the sun was setting, even though it was always there. And because the black hole planet was so massive, it had a ridiculous amount of gravity, which was why only the strongest and most resilient species could survive on the surface. My uniform was snug against me, and I had stuffed my oversized backpack under the table. I was so bored and hungry. I wondered if they had pizza here. As I took another bite of my dinner, I saw something hilarious. Some guy had taken his shoes off and was trying to balance them on his horns. I stifled a laugh. I felt like the whole time I had been carrying invisible weights on my shoulders. Now that I noticed the others struggling and acting stupid, it was like a dam broke inside me and I burst out laughing. Laughter is the best medicine, but it's no good if you have no sense of humor. A tall Grosvenor walked past and bumped into my table. His food went flying. He glared at me, picked up his tray and stormed away. His horns were strapped down with leather straps. What a disgrace. I guess I wasn't the only one wearing a uniform. Most of these kids looked uncomfortable in theirs. I saw one chick with a tail trying to shove it under her dress. There was also a skinny guy with big ears and buck teeth who kept tugging at his collar. As I ate, I saw a group of students approaching. They were being loud and obnoxious. They were all big and muscular with grey skin and bright yellow eyes. I think I know this species. Aren't they related to crocodiles? I think their name was Carcano. I finished my meal and cleaned off my plate. I put the tray on the counter and turned back to my seat just in time to hear one of the Carquinos snort. He pointed at me. "Hey, look everyone, a cute little pet." I stared at him, deadpan. This guy had to be at least 7 feet tall and probably 300 pounds. He was buffing his claws on his pants, leg and smirking at me. He was enjoying this. The second he saw that I wasn't going to respond, his smile faded. "What did you say?" he asked. Still no response. The guy leaned closer. "I said you look like a cute little pet, a little mouse. How about we squeeze you to death? Huh? Then we'll have a little fun with your body before tossing you to the bloodworms. You wouldn't mind, would you, little pet?" I still didn't respond. I continued to stare at him, unwavering and emotionless. He started getting angry. "Why you?" He charged at me and slammed his gigantic fist onto my table. All of the other Carquinos were watching intently. I knew that if he touched me, things would get bad. So I decided to act. I flicked my wrist and slapped him across the face. My hand moved so fast that nobody saw it coming, but the effect was very real. His head snapped back and his eyes popped wide open. He staggered back a few steps. I stood up. "Don't ever call me a pet again," I said, my voice cold. He reached out his hand to touch his cheek. He looked stunned. He looked at me like I was some kind of monster. He took a step toward me and I flicked my wrist again. This time I hit him in the throat. He gasped for air and clutched at his neck. I punched him in the gut, and he doubled over. I kicked him in the knees, and he collapsed onto the ground. I stood over him, panting slightly. "Get the hell away from me," I said, emphasizing each word. The other Carquinos were staring at me with wide eyes. They looked scared, shocked, confused. I didn't know what their internal species reactions were, but I knew that if I had killed him, I would be dead meat. I could tell by the way they were looking at me that they had even seen anything like this before. I was from a death world. Where I was from, everything tried to kill you every day, whether it was humans or nature. You learned to adapt. I walked back to my seat and sat down. I pulled out my datapad and pretended to study. I heard the Kardashians whispering to each other. One of them got up and walked over to me. "What do you want?" I asked, without looking up from my pad. He snarled at me, but he didn't dare touch me. He turned and walked back to his friends. I continued studying. That's when I heard someone clear their throat. I looked up and saw a Dracona standing in front of me. These guys were awesome. Their scales glistened in the neon light, and their horns curved back like scimitars. It was a female, and she was beautiful. She wore tight black pants that hugged her scaly legs and a loose black shirt that showed off her toned arms. She tilted her head slightly and studied me for a moment. "You're a human, aren't you?" she asked. I nodded. "You're in my clan now," she said, extending out her hand. I shook it. "Let's go," she said. She led me through the crowd and out of the cafeteria. We walked until we reached a secluded hallway. "What's your name?" she asked. "Alina." "Nice to meet you, Alina. I'm Valeria. Welcome to the Shadow Academy." She smiled at me, revealing rows of sharp teeth. I smiled back. "Thanks for the warm welcome," I said sarcastically. She chuckled. "What's your specialty?" she asked, being sarcastic. I replied. She laughed. "Good," she said. "We need all the help we can get." Later, I found out that the reason why she took me under her wing was because she thought I was a coward. She wanted to teach me how to fight, but I never had to take her up on her offer. I soon learned that if you show these aliens any weakness, they will target you. I was an easy target, but I had something they didn't. They didn't realize it, but I did. I realized that it was my size. They thought I couldn't hurt them because I was small. They thought I was harmless. They thought I was weak, but they couldn't be more wrong. One day I was eating lunch by myself in the cafeteria. I didn't want to sit with the Shadow Clan today. I was picking at my food when I heard someone approach. I looked up and saw one of the Karkinos from before. He was alone this time and he was smirking. "Hey, little human," he said. "What's your name?" I looked back at him, deadpan. "What do you want?" I asked. "Oh, I just wanted to say hi to our new pet," he replied. "I hope you haven't been getting bored yet. You know, having us around. Don't worry, we're gonna spice things up for you. Got any last wishes? Maybe you want to see your family one last time. Or maybe you want to write a letter to your home planet. We'll let you do that before we feed you to the worms." He started to lean in close to me, enjoying my fear. That's when I flicked my wrist and snapped his neck. His eyes widened in surprise, and his body stiffened. He stumbled backward and collapsed onto the ground, twitching slightly. The other students were watching intently. They had seen me flip the big lug off the first day. They knew I wasn't afraid of him, but they never expected this. I didn't stand up. I didn't even look away from my food. The twitching stopped, and the crocodile stood up. He looked at me with disbelief in his eyes. He reached out a hand to touch his neck, then slowly backed away from me. He was scared. I could tell by the way he was breathing heavily and backing away slowly. I continued eating my lunch as if nothing happened. As the crocodile stumbled away, I heard someone speak up. Did he just kill him? He didn't stand up. Did he really just snap his neck without standing up? I didn't respond. I just continued eating. That's when the other students started whispering to each other. They were scared, shocked, confused. None of them could believe what they had just seen. But I wasn't done yet. I looked up at the ceiling and said, "Never mistake quiet for weakness. Not from a human." The whispers died down and the students began to leave, all except for one. A tall, muscular Draconis approached my table. "What did you do?" he asked, his voice deep and menacing. "I fed my pet," I replied, gesturing to the dead crocodile with a spoon. "Don't feed the pets," the Draconis growled. He reached down and picked up the crocodile's body, then disappeared into the crowd. I shrugged and went back to my food. From that day forward, no one messed with me. They had seen what I was capable of. They knew not to test me. I may have been small, but I was from a death world. I was a survivor, and they weren't going to find out the hard way.